Hey everybody, hey fellow magicians, fellow alchemists, fellow spiritual warriors. I'm back here with another episode of Unleashed Alchemy Card Chronicles segment. All right, so here's the thing, and it's been on me like from the time I woke up this morning up until now to record this video. This is about using our voice. Okay, this is the power of our voice. Now, if you have been watching this show, watching Unleashed Alchemy, listening to the videos over time, you know that that is part of the foundation of this show, is to get us to go back home. Home being getting back to the magic and the creative power, the creation power that we all have. Okay, and the reason why I feel like this is just hitting me so hard right now is because whether you celebrate this so-called holiday or the holidays or not, many people use this time to bond more with family, friends, bond more with the people in their circle, bond more with those that they call family, may not necessarily be blood relation, but to bond with the people that are closest to you, right? Now, we all know what can happen is that, we have what I like to call conversation staples, all right? Conversation staples that center around what's going on in the news, what people have heard, stories, things that are popular, whether or not those stories are true, whether or not they offer peace, whether or not they are stimulating to the mind or to the body, it doesn't matter. We all know these conversation staples, all right? And so the problem is, so it's not a problem to have a conversation, to talk to and be in communication with the people that you love and care about. However, many of these conversations, they keep us in a vortex of what we don't want. All right? They keep us in an energy that we do not want. Hence the reason why some of us keep having the same things that are happening in our lives that we don't want. Because it starts with what we say. Now, it's easy to be mindful and be more conscious about what we say when we are by ourselves. But for some reason, when we get around other people, we think that we have to subject ourselves to these conversations that keep us in vibrating in a vortex that we don't want. Okay? So I'll just use one for example, and I'm going off of no notes here. You know that is risky for me. So anyway, just bear with me, follow me. Okay, take whatever resonates, take it with you. Whatever doesn't, leave it, whatever. So for example, if because of your elevation, because of your spiritual transformation, because your consciousness level has upgraded, because you have surrendered to that process and you've gone within and you have observed the limited programming that you have been operating from, you realize that all this time there is an infinite amount of money available to you. But because you have been operating on money is hard to get, I wasn't born into money, I have to work hard for my money, because you've been operating from that, you realize, okay, wait a minute, I want more in my bank accounts. I want to have more than one bank account. Let's start there. But for some reason, you get into conversations, or you've been in conversations with the people that are in your community or in your family, and one of the conversation staples is that, oh well, no one is born into money. And I'm using that as an example because that is what has come up from people that are closest to me. Nobody is born from money. But you know that is not true, because if that were true, then why are there trust funds? Why are there, these people that we refer to as trust fund babies? Okay, so that whole story is not true. And okay, let's say that you were not born into money. However, a money story of struggle does not belong to you. You can be the one in your family, and perhaps that is what your soul and what your spirit is calling you forward to step into. You being the person in your family to provide money, liberation, and freedom, not just for your own life, but for your entire bloodline, to your entire lineage. The struggle, the idea that money is hard to come by has stopped with you, because you have stepped into that new identity because of your spiritual transformation. Now, you may be around people who are not on even thinking like that, because their consciousness is not, it's on another, they're vibrating from another wavelength. Their consciousness level has not been upgraded, that they can actually call forth that new identity of abundance and financial freedom. And that's okay. It does not make them bad people. But what you have to be careful of is to get out of, not to find yourself in these conversations of, oh, well, money is hard to come by. Not everybody, was born into money, and look at the economy now and everything's going to crash. No, stop. You do not have to involve yourself in those conversations. As a matter of fact, because what you have to understand is that you have the power to even shift an atmosphere. If someone begins to talk about that, or money, it could be anything, but in a certain way that does not offer expansion, that does not offer a new perspective, a new spiritual perspective, where you have to view things not from your physical eye, but from the level of where your soul is, and your soul is infinite. Okay, our physical eye only brings us what our ego can see. It only brings us what has happened in the past, what is happening in the future, and what has happened from people around us. But our soul is infinite. Our soul, if you have vibrated, or if you get yourself into a conversation where, again, going back to money is hard to come by. No one's born into money, and it's a struggle out here, and everything's on the rise, and inflation. You can start off going into that atmosphere, and you are, you've said affirmations or whatever you want to call it. You've gotten through your meditation for that day, and you walk into that atmosphere where people are already talking in that type of way. It can throw you off, and you can adopt those energies that don't even belong to you. And the thing is, what I'm trying to say here is that you do not have to be involved in those conversations. There could be 60 people talking about that, and as soon as you walk in, number one, because of the power that is in your voice, you can decide before you even get into that atmosphere that as soon as you show up, you're showing up with peace, that you are bringing fun conversation, that you are bringing expansive conversation. Now notice, I'm talking about you. This is not about you going into control what other people do, but you do have the power to speak how you want your interactions to be. You do have the power to say, well, I want to go into this atmosphere. I want to go into this family dinner having these conversations. When I get through with these conversations, I want to feel expansive. I want to feel joyful. I want to feel inspired. You can speak that. And then you can watch and see what happens with the types of conversations that you have because of the words that have come out of your mouth. The second thing that I want to say is You do not have to involve yourself in those conversations, because the thing that you don't want to do when it comes to using your voice and using the power of your Heka, the power of your voice to create. You don't have to convince anybody. And if someone starts with the conversation of that lower level vortex conversation pieces that I just referred to, or staples that I just referred to, whether it's talking about money or anything else, you can say, you know, I've decided that for my life, those types of conversations, me viewing things in that way, it doesn't serve me and for where I see my life headed. Who can argue with that? Who can argue with that? Somebody crazy. Nobody can argue with that. It would be someone crazy who would try and argue with that. But again, if you notice what I'm saying, you're not pointing the finger at anybody. You're putting back on yourself. You're saying, this is what I've chosen to do. This is how I've chosen to look at this. Okay, so if food prices are going up, then I know that I now have more than enough money to take care of myself and those that I love and care about. That means that I have more money coming to me. That means that the universe is providing more avenues for me to have lavish amounts of income. Okay? You can say that, because the last thing that you want to do is argue with someone. Let that person have their limitation. And the thing is, they don't even know that it is a limitation. Again, this is not judging the person. This is not looking at the other people in a bad way. It is simply you focusing on your power and standing firm in your power. I have used the example of money in this. You can use it in, let's say, for example, relationships. I see, and I don't know why I'm talking about relationships right now, but I see so many of these, relationship experts or people or shows that just focus on relationships. And what I have noticed, and it's just, and I don't listen, to these, but you see different things, you see clips, if you have a business that you market online, you just happen to come across these things, right? And what it seems is if the theme of these relationship shows is that relationships are hard, or it's hard to date, or the dating pool is trash, or the dating pool is this, and it's all negative. But if you have decided, I know that there is a wonderful, first of all, I desire to have a wonderful, luscious, lavish relationship with someone who respects me, with someone who honors me, with someone who can understand me, with someone I can have a deep conversation with on one day and have a silly conversation with the next. If that is what and you know that there is someone out there for you, that is what you are vibrating on, don't find yourself in conversations where people are talking about how trashy the dating pool is, because you do not want to be swirling around in that vortex. Remember, the power is in your voice, in your breath to create. And we have to get back to that. We're spirit first. Okay? We are spirit first. We are cosmic beings. We can create with our words. So I just want to remind you, okay, of that. And let me know what your takeaways are from this video. And until next time, cheers.